So, how did you do on those questions? We asked you, what is the capital of France? How are goldfish and canaries similar to each other? And why are we tried by a jury of our peers? These are all representative items on some contemporary tests of intelligence, like the digit span task we talked about before. So, what's the capital of France? Well, it's Paris. The problem with this question is that this would not be a difficult question for those who have learned about Western geography. However, for those who are unfamiliar with Western geography, they might not know what the answer is. Does that make them less intelligent? No. It's a function of the culture people are schooled in that they can answer questions like, what's the capital of France? What about the next question? How are goldfish and canaries similar to each other? Now, some of my students scratch their heads when I ask them this. They might say, well, they can both fly. Well, that's not quite right. Or they might say they're both gold. Well, that's also not right. The answer is that they're both commonly kept as pets in some cultures. However, lots of cultures don't keep canaries and goldfish as pets. What people consider to be pets is a function of the culture they live in. Again, this is another question that would be difficult to answer for those from a different cultural background to the background that the test questions are based on. What about the last question? Why are we tried by a jury of our peers? The answer to that is something like, well, a jury represents community standards and they bring these into the administration of justice. Or because that's how we guarantee a fair trial and avoid the Crown or the state persecuting people. But what if you live in a country that doesn't have juries? Now, it's probably easier to list the countries that actually do have juries because there aren't that many of them. There's Australia, England, America and Canada. There have been some limited trials of mixed juries in Japan and South Korea. A lot of other countries don't have juries. This would be a really hard question to answer for those who come from cultures where they don't have juries. This is a hard enough question to answer even for those who come from a culture where they have juries for whatever reason. If you don't have trial by jury in your country, this is kind of a nonsensical question. The problem here is that these questions are reasonably representative of the questions from many contemporary intelligence tests. The problem with these sorts of questions is they really do assume a lot of background information to be able to know what the answer is.